Hello, bonjour, good morning.
Donc,
Sophia, on ne vous entend pas.
Est-ce que c'est bon maintenant? Le son est OK? Vous m'entendez?
Oui, on vous entend. Bonjour.
Très bien, très bien. Donc, bonjour, mesdames et messieurs, honorables panélistes et participants. Je suis donc Najla Triki, membre du bureau directeur de l'US, International Network for Women in Engineering and Sciences, en charge de la liaison avec la région MENA. Je voudrais en premier lieu vous remercier pour l'intérêt que vous avez porté à notre événement et pour votre présence aujourd'hui parmi nous. Et je voudrais aussi vous remercier tous nos éminents panélistes qui ont accepté d'animer ce webinaire. On va donc discuter de la contribution des femmes en STEM à la recherche et l'innovation et les initiatives potentielles pour la renforcer. Donc, ce webinaire fait partie d'un projet en collaboration avec l'Université de Huawei. Et donc, il vise à réimaginer une nouvelle culture de recherche et innovation dans les domaines des STEM. Donc, ce projet vous sera présenté plus en détail par Dr. Jackson Kim, président de IMES. Donc, l'événement d'aujourd'hui constitue un premier webinaire qui est organisé par la région MENA de IMES. L'objectif étant d'analyser la situation actuelle dans la région et proposer des pistes d'amélioration. J'espère que notre webinaire offrira un lieu de discussion riche et fructueuse. Donc, notre webinaire sera animé et modéré par Dr. Safa Nesredi. Dr. Safa est reconnue comme une leader de la communauté palestinienne, principalement en entrepreneuriat. Elle est aussi enseignante très dynamique en ingénierie et engagée dans de multiples rôles et initiatives sur les scènes palestiniennes et régionales de l'ingénierie et de la technologie. Avec plus de 20 ans d'expérience dans la construction de leadership, de gestion de projets et de pratiques d'ingénierie, elle est bien connue pour son ambition à inspirer et à responsabiliser les femmes ingénieurs et chefs de projet, les filles et les jeunes en général. Elle a également une vision forte pour la communauté palestinienne à travers l'éducation et l'apprentissage. Elle est actuellement vice-présidente à l'université Al-Quds en Palestine. Avant, le actuel était ministre des Télécommunications, de l'Information et de la Technologie. Elle a donc introduit avec succès des changements positifs en permettant un environnement concurrentiel pour l'industrie des télécommunications en Palestine. Elle a été la première femme ministre dans ce domaine en Palestine. Et elle a reçu un certain nombre de titres. Par exemple, elle a été chevalier de l'Ordre national de la Légion d'honneur de la République française en 2017 et aussi les titres de Arab Women Achievers en 2019, Academician Who Most Research de Jérusalem en 2019 aussi. Elle est membre actif du conseil d'administration du Conseil supérieur pour l'innovation et l'excellence de l'incubateur palestinien pour l'énergie, du Fonds d'innovation, de la branche palestinienne de la Fondation Éducation pour l'emploi, de la Banque islamique arabe, etc. Elle est titulaire d'un doctorat en génie électronique de l'INSERP, Université Bordeaux 1 en France, obtenu en 2003. Docteur Sava, donc vous avez la parole.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope we have gentlemen with us to hear us today. And I'm very glad to moderate this session, Jerusalem, Al-Quds, Palestine. We have very wonderful ladies here participating with us today to speak about reimagining a STEM research culture and encouraging women and ladies and girls to be part of this very promising world. So we will be starting by the speech of the president of the INWES organization, Jong-Sang Kim. We are very happy to get to know her and work with her also in this presentation, in this webinar, very important webinar. We will be hearing also from Kauthar Hdeeb, who is the Vice President of the Tunisian Association for Women Engineers and Scientists. She will be giving a keynote speech, and then we will be speaking with the panelists from the different regions in the Arab world, speaking about how they encourage or what are the barriers and what are the opportunities for ladies in this field. So first, let us welcome Dr. Jong-Sang Kim, who is the current president of INWES, as I said, and she will be speaking about herself for a couple of minutes and then introducing INWES as well as giving her welcome speech. Professor Jong-Sang, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nasiruddin. And I'm very glad to meet all of you. Good morning, everyone. I will briefly give you my welcome speech, after which I think I have a little time to introduce to you our organization, INWES. So again, thank you for the kind introduction, and good morning. I am Jong-Sang Kim. I am the current president of INWES. And on behalf of the board of directors of INWES, I would like to express my most sincere greetings to our valuable members in the MENA region. I would like to thank Nadia Susi, chair of the MENA Regional Network. I remember the wonderful regional conference that ATFI team organized in 2018 in the beautiful city of Tunis. And I hope I can return to Tunis one day and also visit some of the countries in the Middle East and the North African region. I would like to also thank Najla Triki, our board member of INWES, and she's the lead of the MENA network in INWES. She has been valuable in bringing together today's webinar. A big thank you to our distinguished speakers and our moderator, Dr. Safwan Afzaruddin, who will be moderating today's webinar, and our keynote speaker, Ms. Kauthar Hdeeb, and our panels, Dr. Manar Abdul Talib, Dr. Marian Amir Azer, Dr. Rima Abbasi, and Dr. Mona Itani. Thank you very much for your valuable time. This year, INWES celebrates its 20th birthday. It was in the year 2002 in Canada that the establishment of INWES was approved by the delegates at ICWES 12 as a formal organization to oversee the ICWES conferences. Since then, INWES has expanded the global network, established regional networks, and have initiated various projects that would bring us closer to fulfilling our mission to building a better future worldwide by the full participation of women and girls in all aspects of science and engineering. Thanks to our Vice President Conferences, Professor Georgia Kremida, INWES was able to obtain funding for a series of webinars that will be held from March to July this year. And the project is a collaboration between INWES and the University of Warwick, entitled Reimagining a STEM Research Culture, Lessons Learned from the 20 Years of Evolution for Inclusive Representation in Science and Engineering. I would like to congratulate MENA for starting off with the first webinar in the series of 10 to follow. And this project focuses on improving access to and participation of women and those belonging to the underrepresented groups in STEM research. We hope to show how diversity and inclusion in STEM would benefit society as a whole, thus contributing to a culture that supports the development of strong identities and academic mindsets to underrepresented groups in STEM research is the focus of this project. We hope to extrapolate analyze and discuss policies, initiatives, projects, and interventions delivered across the world in the last 20 years in STEM academia and industry. We hope through the dialogue in today's and the upcoming webinars, you will be able to discuss the current status, barriers, and opportunities for an equitable and inclusive representation to STEM research and innovation in the Middle East and North African countries. I also hope you will be able to attend the webinars held by our other regional networks like the APNN, the ARN in West Europe, and hopefully our Latin American regional network as well. And please mark your calendars for the concluding international symposium on July 20th this year, where all the outcomes of the regional network webinars will be disseminated on a global scale, accompanied by a celebration of the 20th anniversary of INWES. Science and engineering together with gender equality are vital agendas for a sustainable world, and only through the full participation of women and girls in science can we achieve a better future for all. I look forward to meeting you all in person in our next ICWES or INWES Global or regional network meetings, and thank you once again for your passion and endeavor to building an inclusive environment for science and engineering. Thank you very much. And now I will share with you my slide to give you a brief introduction of INWES. Okay, I hope you can see my slides. Just because I don't want to spend too much time on this, very briefly, INWES is a global network of organizations of women in STEM with organizational members, corporate members, university members, and individual members, all together comprising about 250,000 women from over 40 countries worldwide. As I earlier mentioned, our mission is to build a better future worldwide through the full and effective participation of women and girls in all aspects of STEM. The history of INWES goes back to the year 2002 when it was first established. We were incorporated in Canada as a not-for-profit corporation in 2004. In 2008, we became the official NGO partner of the operational type with UNESCO. And in 2017, we have gained the consultative status of the UN Economic and Social Council. But the history of INWES, in fact, goes back to 1964 when ICWES, the Conference of Women Engineers and Scientists, was first held. ICWES, in fact, is the flagship event of INWES, which is an international conference for women engineers and scientists, held every 3 to 4 years. The first one being held in New York in the USA in 1964, the second one in 1967 in the UK, and the most recent one held last year, hosted by the University of Warwick, was a virtual event due to COVID. This was, in fact, our first virtual ICWES held in our history. Next year, we will be holding the next ICWES conference in New Zealand, and I hope all of you will be able to join us in New Zealand. It will be in hybrid, so some of you may be able to join online as well. This is the most recent list of countries that are members of INWES. Please understand that sometimes we have more depending on the status of the membership status, but you see that we have different regional networks where we also have MENA, and we hope that since MENA being the latest joined network, we hope that there will be an expansion of countries in the near future, and I really hope that all of you will consider joining in as organizational members or university members with INWES. These are some of the regional conferences that we have held since the establishment of INWES. And as I earlier mentioned, that we had the 2018 conference, regional conference in Tunis, and which was very successful and was very well held. These are some photographs that reminds us of the wonderful event that we had. These are the INWES objectives, but the main objective is, of course, to become an influential voice on STEM issues to benefit society to become benefit for society by the involvement of women and girls in science and engineering. We have projects for the for this year, which are listed here, and one of the important projects is this webinar, which includes this webinar and a series of webinars that we hope to hold. And I hope that you will join us in many of our activities that are actually more than what I have listed here. So I hope that for more information, you will check our programs and information in the website. And if you leave your email addresses in the chat box, we will try to reach you to provide you with more information for membership and also for any other questions that you may have. So thank you very much. And I hope you have a very successful webinar. And I'm very glad to meet all of you here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Professor Jong Song. It was really a pleasure to have you with us, with all your experience also and motivating us to join the INWEST network. I hope also more countries, as you said, will join, since today we have also some ladies from regions that their countries are not part of it. So I hope that they will be encouraged to join, because they will really, from your objectives, it is clear that the impact on the countries will be very important, as well as we said, that today we'll be discussing parts of the challenges that they are facing, so that they can create new policies and work to encourage more ladies in STEM. So as you said, we will be discussing now the current status in our regions, and we will start by the keynote speech from Dr. Kauthar, who is Dr. Kauthar is the Vice President of the Tunisian Association of Women Engineers and Scientists, in charge of the collaboration with INWEST MENA. And she is also a senior sustainable energy specialist. Ms. Hdeib has a very rich also biography, and she is highly experienced in the international energy efficiency as well as the project manager. And she has more than 24 years of experience, including 15 years in energy policy and frameworks in the Middle East and North Africa. And she has more than 21 years of experience in assisting public authorities and decision makers also to define and implement set of sustainable and adapted energy policies. So, Ms. Hdeib, the floor is yours. You can also tell us more about yourself if you would like to, and give us your keynote speech. We are very happy to have you with us. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Saba. Thank you for this nice introduction. I will make my speech in French, so I will switch in French. Merci pour les interprètes aussi. Donc, je suis très ravie d'être parmi vous aujourd'hui et effectivement de faire partie de ce network pour améliorer les conditions effectivement et le rôle de la femme en STEM, et également comment jouer en collaboration pour faire vraiment évoluer cette situation et pour que le rôle de la femme en STEM soit de plus en plus proactif pour le développement de nos économies respectives. Donc, effectivement, moi, je travaille plutôt dans le secteur de sustainable energy, de la maîtrise de l'énergie, et je contribue également dans notre région à développer des politiques qui vont permettre également à avoir une transition énergétique plus regardante sur l'aspect environnement et tenant compte d'un développement durable et équitable et une justice énergétique également. Donc, effectivement, donc je vais partager mon écran. On a préparé juste ensemble un ensemble de points qui vont nous permettre d'enrichir la discussion par la suite avec nos chers panélistes. Donc, un instant que je partage mon écran. Est-ce que c'est bon? Vous voyez mon écran? Ok, très bien.
Yes, we see clear. Please go ahead.
Ok. Donc, l'objectif de ma présentation, c'est vraiment de donner des faits et des chiffres clés par rapport à la situation de la femme en STEM en général et dans la région MENA en particulier, basé effectivement sur les données dont on dispose actuellement et sur les informations dont on a. Donc, bon, je passe rapidement sur le plan de la présentation. Donc, on commence là par introduire cet indice de disparité globale. Cet indice de disparité globale a été développé par le Global World Economic Forum Ça a été introduit depuis quand même 2006 et ça introduit quelque part la distance qui nous éloigne de la disparité en fin de compte. Alors, si on constate, ça a été réalisé pour tous les pays, pour toutes les régions, et on constate par rapport, je ne sais pas si vous voyez, par rapport à la région MENA, on a parcouru quand même un certain nombre, une distance quand même d'à peu près 60% pour atteindre la disparité, mais il reste quand même un gap important pour dire qu'effectivement, il y a une parité égale entre le genre homme et femme. Donc, il y a encore du travail à faire dans ce sens. Et si on regarde sur les sous-indicateurs qui ont été évalués pour déterminer cet indice de disparité globale, nous constatons que il y a des indicateurs il y a eu beaucoup d'efforts, tels que le niveau d'éducation, où on constate que cette disparité est moindre. Donc, les femmes, il y a de plus en plus, donc dans l'éducation, il n'y a pas de problème dans ce sens, que la disparité entre hommes et femmes est réduite. Par rapport à la santé également, donc on constate que la distance parcourue, elle est assez intéressante. Cependant, où il y a un gap énorme, c'est par rapport à offrir des opportunités et la participation économique et des opportunités économiques aux femmes. Là, on constate qu'on est loin. On a parcouru 40%, il nous reste quand même un gap de 60% pour dire qu'on a atteint la parité. Et par rapport également à l'autonomisation politique, c'est-à-dire les positions de leadership, les positions de décideurs politiques, ainsi de suite, où il reste beaucoup d'efforts à faire, et surtout dans notre pays de la région. Si on se compare, même dans les autres pays, on constate que le gap reste important, surtout sur la partie autonomisation politique. Et on sait très bien qu'être dans des positions de décision, c'est grâce à l'implication dans ce poste de décision pour permettre de développer des changements et de pousser la transition quelque part vers une parité plus égale. Donc, pour dire que là, ça nous indique un peu sur les efforts qui restent à faire pour une meilleure parité hommes et femmes dans notre région. Alors, si on continue pour voir un peu ce qui se passe, on zoome un peu sur nos pays de la région. Parmi les pays, parce que cet indice a été analysé pour au moins 153 pays. Alors, si on zoome un peu sur nos pays à nous, donc en classement, on trouve que dans le classement régional, les Émirats arabes unis viennent en tête de classement, mais elle a quand même une position de 72 par rapport à classement mondial. La Tunisie vient en deuxième position, mais elle est dans les pays de la région MENA, mais elle est loin. Il reste beaucoup de choses à faire pour améliorer les choses. Et l'Égypte, la Jordanie et le Maroc. Cependant, comme vous constatez, par rapport au classement international, donc là, on est nos pays, on a besoin d'un grand effort pour vraiment dire qu'on a atteint la parité enfin dans les différents. Alors, quelques statistiques. Alors, si on regarde par contre, quelle est la situation à l'université? Alors, vous constatez, là, on a zoomé sur plutôt la proportion des femmes parmi les diplômés en STEM. Et ce qui est assez relevant pour nos pays, c'est que on est bien positionné en termes de proportion des femmes qui sont diplômées dans les STEM. Si on regarde, par exemple, la Tunisie et l'Algérie, on est pratiquement, bien sûr, on n'a pas atteint un pourcentage très élevé, mais on est à plus que 50% si on prend le cas de la Tunisie, par exemple, et l'Algérie qui sont en tête de classement. Et également, on trouve nos pays tels qu'Oman, le Maroc, qui font partie des pays qui sont bien classés par rapport aux proportions des femmes parmi les diplômés de STEM. Donc, et ça, c'est vraiment le point dont on est fier, c'est qu'on a de plus en plus de femmes dans nos pays de la région qui sont en train effectivement de faire des études en STEM et qui percent dans ce secteur. Cependant, Si on regarde en termes de la recherche et de l'innovation, bon, c'est clair que effectivement notre région MENA ne part pas d'une bonne situation. Quand vous constatez ici que par rapport à la dépense en recherche et développement en pourcentage du PIB, notre région MENA n'est pas bien classée. Et vous le constatez très bien qu'on est pratiquement en dessous de 1% par rapport à ce qu'on met en place pour développer la recherche et le développement dans nos pays, malheureusement, comparé par d'autres pays tels que l'Union européenne et tout. Donc là, il y a vraiment un effort à faire pour inciter nos pays également à montrer l'importance de la recherche et le développement si on veut vraiment une économie basée sur la connaissance. Donc là, il est clair qu'il y a un gap et ça, c'est le rôle effectivement des politiques. C'est pour cette raison qu'on se dit également que dans les politiques, il faut que les femmes en STEM percent également ce domaine et aient accès à des décisions politiques pour faire des changements, pour pouvoir opérer des changements importants. Alors, par contre, si on va à la présence des femmes dans la recherche en tant que telle, je crois que, bon, il y a une animation qui est assez intéressante. Je ne sais pas si le temps va nous permettre, mais je vous invite à rentrer dans c'est un graphique qui a été développé par l'UNESCO. Et là, en cliquant sur chaque pays, vous allez pouvoir avoir une information sur le pourcentage des femmes dans la recherche et développement dans chaque pays. Je ne sais pas si, parce que là, je risque, si je quitte pour aller dans, que ça va prendre du temps, ben, je vais essayer, mais sinon, on reviendra directement à la diapo. Et là, en cliquant, de toute façon, comme vous constatez là, alors pour dire qu'on a atteint la parité, donc il faut qu'à la limite, 45 à 55%, il y ait de présence des femmes dans la recherche et développement. La moyenne mondiale, elle est en dessous de ça, on est encore à 30%. Cependant, dans nos pays de la région, vous constatez là, bon, là, peut-être que ce n'est pas vraiment très clair, il y a quelques pays quand même qui ont fait des efforts, tels que les Émirats arabes unis et autres, mais on reste quand même en dessous, sur les autres, en dessous de la moyenne, de la moyenne mondiale pratiquement. Mais je vous invite quand même à regarder ce graphique qui a été développé par l'UNESCO et qui, là, vous trouverez dans chaque pays le pourcentage des femmes et la présence des femmes en recherche et développement. Je risque là que ça va nous prendre un peu plus de temps si je clique dessus. Alors, sur l'indice mondial de l'innovation, donc, qui rend compte un peu des performances des écosystèmes d'innovation d'une manière générale, dont sont 32 économies, et qui donne les tendances mondiales les plus récentes en matière d'innovation, c'est-à-dire comment ça se fait, qu'est-ce qui se passe en termes d'innovation. Alors là, on constate que malheureusement, donc vous voyez qu'il y a des pôles d'innovation, que tout ce qui est l'indice mondial, les pôles d'innovation se retrouvent soit en Europe, soit en Amérique du Nord, quelques pays, mais vous regardez, vous constatez que notre région, il y a vraiment, l'indice, il est vraiment timide. Donc là, c'est la source qui a été développée par l'Organisation mondiale de la propriété intellectuelle. Et là, vous constatez qu'il y a également, donc nous, on ne part pas d'une situation très confortable. Donc, il y a encore des pas à faire dans le pays. Et en plus, si on regarde les premières économies d'innovation par région, donc là, ça a été préparé par région, toujours par l'Organisation mondiale de la propriété intellectuelle. Et là, vous constatez dans notre région, malheureusement, je le dis, Israël prend la tête des pays en termes d'indice mondial de l'innovation. Donc, suivi, donc là, l'Émirat arabe unis qui effectivement évolue rapidement et il y a vraiment une croissance importante de ce pays-là dans ce domaine. Et ça a été bien spécifié dans ce rapport-là que je vous invite également à lire. Et également la Turquie. Donc là, pour dire qu'il y a également aussi des efforts à faire dans nos pays respectifs pour améliorer cet indice de l'innovation qui, effectivement, nous indique également sur notre économie, sur quoi allait baser notre économie si on veut qu'une économie soit basée effectivement sur l'innovation et sur les sciences. Alors, Alors, sur le marché du travail, où est-ce qu'elle se retrouve, la femme en STEM, sur le marché du travail? Comme ça a été précisé tout à l'heure, c'est que par rapport, dans la formation, elle est présente dans notre région, et vous avez vu dans les slides précédents qu'un pourcentage important des femmes font des études en STEM dans la région MENA. Alors, cependant, si vous constatez ici, même si on prend quelques pays, toujours, par exemple, si on prend le cas de l'Algérie, donc vous constatez que l'Algérie, sur l'ensemble des qui ont été graduated, qui ont eu leur diplôme en STEM, il y a presque plus que 60% des femmes qui ont été graduées dans le domaine des STEM, ingénieurs et sciences. Cependant, la chose qui saute aux yeux d'une manière flagrante, c'est que sur le marché de l'emploi, elles sont en dessous de 20%. Et ça, c'est un cas qui se répète pratiquement sur les différents pays de nos régions. Donc, vous constatez le gap entre celles qui ont eu leur diplôme et par la suite, on ne retrouve pas le même pourcentage sur le marché de l'emploi. Un point d'interrogation, un gros point d'interrogation à regarder également. Et comment peut-on améliorer? Là, il y a Chypre qui, c'est pas le pays de la région MENA, hein, donc c'est elle qui, voilà, si on prend Chypre par rapport aux pays de la région, vous constatez que Chypre, là, le gap n'est pas important entre celles qui ont eu leur diplôme par rapport à celles qui se trouvent sur le marché de l'emploi. Par rapport pour nos pays de la région, par exemple, si on prend le cas de Palestine, donc là, vous trouvez le gap quand même assez important entre celles qui ont eu leur diplôme et après leur présence dans le marché de l'emploi, donc leur pourcentage par rapport aux hommes dans le marché de l'emploi. Donc, déjà, ça nous indique un peu sur les difficultés que quand les femmes ont STEM à percer dans le marché de l'emploi. En plus, en termes de présence des femmes parmi les fondateurs des startups, dans la région MENA, ce qu'on constate que dans l'évolution, parce que tout ce qu'on veut, c'est que effectivement que les femmes qui sont diplômées en STEM, qu'elles se retrouvent plutôt sur de l'économie de l'innovation. Et ce que nous avons constaté, dans la région MENA, sur les startups qui ont été créées sur la période 2013-2018, il y a une présence qui est en dessous pratiquement de 15%. Et même si c'est en moyenne en dessous de 10%, il n'y a que la Jordanie, le Liban, le Bahreïn, Palestine aussi, où on a un pourcentage aux alentours de 20, 18 et 17. Cependant, on dit que ce pourcentage reste faible compte tenu du nombre de diplômés en STEM qui sortent chaque année et qu'on s'attend à ce que ces diplômés en STEM se lancent dans la création de startups à forte valeur ajoutée, à fort contenu innovant. Donc là, pour vous montrer, par exemple, prenez le cas de la Tunisie aussi. La Tunisie, on est sur les startups qui ont été créées, il n'y a que 9% qui ont été fondées par des femmes. Donc, pour dire qu'effectivement, il y a de la marge de manœuvre dans ce sens également pour pousser les femmes à créer leurs startups également. Sur les startups innovantes ou les entreprises innovantes qui ont été créées par des femmes dans la région MENA, alors les domaines qui ont été identifiés, ce sont les domaines de l'industrie, presque plus que 40% dans le domaine de l'industrie. Bien sûr, dans le domaine de la distribution également, il y a un certain nombre important, 25%, suivi par la construction, hôtel et restauration. Donc là, c'est vraiment les entreprises innovantes qui ont été portées, la répartition des entreprises innovantes portées par des femmes dans la région MENA et les domaines, effectivement, qui ont été développés par des femmes en STEM. Donc là, ça vous donne une idée sur les types d'activités qui ont été effectivement portées par des femmes dans ce secteur-là. Et pour dire que on sait très bien que l'économie dans les prochaines années va se baser sur l'économie de la connaissance, le développement d'énergie renouvelable, la digitalisation, tous ces aspects-là, les femmes en STEM peuvent trouver tout à fait sa position là-dessus, mais il faut la supporter pour aller de l'avant. Donc, comme vous l'avez constaté, il y a un écart entre la participation des hommes et des femmes à la population active. Bien qu'il se réduise, cet écart reste frappant. D'ailleurs, on est en année 2020 et cet écart reste frappant quand même dans notre région. Donc, 49% seulement des femmes participent à la population active dans le monde contre 60% dans les hommes. Bon, et c'est aggravé dans notre région, comme vous l'avez constaté, sachant que une étude qui a été faite par McKinsey a démontré que si ces écarts pour atteindre les pleines parités sont réduits, donc là, ça va générer 12 000 milliards de dollars de PIB à l'échelle mondiale additionnels et 0,6 milliards de dollars de PIB additionnels seulement dans notre région MENA d'ici 2025. Pour dire que cette parité-là ne peut qu'apporter de l'apport positif pour nos économies. Et d'ailleurs, il y a certaines études qui ont démontré que les entreprises qui comptent plus de 15% de femmes cadres supérieures, elles ont une rentabilité supérieure de 50% à celles qui comptent moins de 10%, et qu'également les entreprises qui comptent au moins une administratrice au sein de l'entreprise, elles génèrent en moyenne plus de 3,5% de return on investment, plus élevé que celles qui ne comptent aucune administratrice femme. Pour dire que la femme, elle apporte une réelle valeur ajoutée à l'entreprise et à l'économie, et que les femmes en STEM ont toute leur place actuellement pour vraiment une transition économique plus à contenu innovant. Donc, bon, là, je rajoute également des éléments sur la participation des femmes à la direction et au conseil d'entreprise, juste pour vous donner une idée sur ce qui se passe dans nos pays. Comme vous le constatez, la proportion des femmes dans les postes de décision reste quand même faible dans la majorité des pays de notre région. Donc, l'Égypte, on est à presque à 7%, donc c'est très, très faible. L'Algérie, malgré que vous avez constaté que l'Algérie a plus vraiment des femmes qui sont diplômées des STEM avec une proportion très élevée, mais la proportion des femmes dans les postes de décision est très, très faible. Il n'y a que la Jordanie.
Oh, excuse me.
Oui.
You have 2 minutes, 2 more minutes, please.
Okay, I will. Okay.
Very, very important, very insightful presentation, but we have to.
Okay, I will go quickly to the other slide. C'est bon, it's okay from my side. Donc, donc je ne vais pas retenir aussi. Ici également pour le conseil d'administration, quand vous constatez que pour un nombre très limité qui siège au conseil d'administration, nous on est les moins avancés, donc on est à 60% où on a le poste, la partie la plus faible des proportions des femmes dans les conseils d'administration des entreprises. Pareil pour proportion des femmes présidentes de conseil d'administration. Vous voyez que dans notre région, on est uniquement à 11%. Donc là, quelles sont les barrières? Bon, là, je vais aller rapidement parce que je sais que les panélistes vont effectivement débattre de ça. Donc, l'existence de stéréotypes et des préjugés concernant le rôle et les capacités des femmes dans l'entrepreneuriat innovant et à forte valeur ajoutée. Il y a un travail qui peut se faire sur vraiment les croyances limitantes de la femme sur cet aspect-là. Elle ne se voit pas, par contre, elle a toutes les capacités pour travailler et pour avancer dans ce secteur. Effectivement, il faut travailler également sur la maîtrise de certains aspects de l'entrepreneuriat où la femme, effectivement, doit améliorer ses capacités dans ce sens. Et également les soft skills, la confiance en soi, pour vraiment surmonter les barrières intrinsèques telles que la peur de ne pas réussir, la peur du risque, ainsi de suite. Donc, ce sont des croyances limitantes. Il faut vraiment travailler sur la confiance en soi. La difficulté à développer un réseau de partenariats soutenant les initiatives à envisager. Donc, c'est pour cette raison que ce genre de network peut jouer un rôle très, très important pour vraiment pousser la femme à aller de l'avant et la femme en STEM. Et un peu l'environnement discriminatoire, notamment concernant l'accès au financement, où il y a beaucoup de choses à faire dans ce sens pour vraiment ouvrir les portes et élever les barrières pour l'accès au financement aux femmes pour la mise en place de leur entreprise. Bon, je ne vais pas peut-être trop tarder parce que ça va être discuté tout à l'heure avec notre panéliste. Donc, travailler sur l'aspect modèle, donner l'exemple pour les femmes enceintes qui ont réussi, pour vraiment inciter les femmes à aller de l'avant pour créer une entreprise à fort contenu innovant, multiplier les opportunités de networking, intégrer les formations en soft skills, et c'est les différents aspects de l'entrepreneuriat, et multiplier les initiatives et programmes visant à accompagner les femmes en STEM à entreprendre dans les domaines à forte valeur ajoutée et à contenu innovant. Donc, bon, là, je conclue avec des slogans tirés du rapport de l'UNESCO. Greater gender diversity leads to better performance, c'est clair. Donc, on ne peut qu'apporter une valeur ajoutée. 75% of future jobs will need scientific skills. Donc, 75% des jobs du futur vont nécessiter des scientifiques, connaissances scientifiques. Donc, the world needs science and science needs women. Donc, et pour dire que la femme a toutes les capacités en STEM de réussir et de réussir également la transition économique de nos pays de la région vers une transition économique à forte valeur ajoutée et à fort contenu innovant. Et je vous remercie infiniment de votre attention et on ouvre le débat par la suite. Merci beaucoup. Dr. Safa, à vous la...
Thank you very much, Ms. Kauthar, for this very, very insightful presentation where you told us about the global, from the global report that you presented, and we see that the MENA region, as you said, is working on enhancing the situation for the women or gender in STEM. We have some encouraging numbers and some numbers that says that we have still to work too much on this issue. But it's very diverse. Also in the MENA region itself, as you said, sometimes the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, have a high ranking as 72, and we will hear from Dr. Manar now. How's the situation for women in STEM there? And also you told us about the university level, and it is known, I think, in our region that we have ladies in the STEM fields, a higher percentage, but when you go to the labor world, you don't find more women there, but it's less than 20%, as you said. And also in the startup field, we should encourage also women to be there. And I hope that we will be working together after this webinar also in some projects that we will lead to changing some of the statistics that you gave us. So very big thanks to you for this very insightful presentation. And also you gave us some hints what should be done, especially about the role models. And we have here in our webinar today, 5 or 6, at least 6 ladies here who are, each one of you is a real role model for not only her country, but also for the MENA region and for the whole world. So, and if you concentrate on the skills, it's a very important issue to concentrate on the skills, because this is what will make more ladies be involved in the employment, where they always blame us for not being able to be there because of some of the skills that we miss. So I hope that, as you said, we'll have multiplying the initiatives and having more women in the presentation. Now we'll go to, we have a small change in the program. We will give 10 minutes to Dr. Marianne Amir Azar. She is from Egypt, and she has to leave because of some personal issues that she has. We pass our condolences for her because she missed someone from the family. So she will be giving us 10 minutes presentation about the situation. So first of all, Dr. Marianne is a parliamentarian, and she is also an associate professor and director of Information Center in the National Telecommunication Institute, and she's an associate professor in the Nile University. We are so pleased to have you, Dr. Marianne, that you made it to and you wanted to participate in spite of your situation. And you can give us a couple of sentences because your bio is so big. MashaAllah, every one of you here have many years of experience and being part of many boards in the academia and the private sector also. So please, Dr. Marianne, the floor is yours to give us your speech. I hope she's with us now. Please go ahead.
I think that Dr. Marianne is not with us yet.
I sent her a message because she's, as she's explained to us, and she has this situation. So I sent her now a message so she can join and give us this presentation. And then we will start. As I said, I will tell you a little bit about our program. As we said, we have 3 rounds of questions and 3 rounds of participation from the different ladies from the different regions who will be telling us about the barriers and the opportunities after speaking about the actual situation in their countries, as well as some examples of the adopted situations that will be like an example for us to either to work with that region and be able to do it for our region. So I hope Marianne is with us now. Is she with us, Najla?
No, not yet. So
Not
we can.
Did you message her or?
Yes, I'm calling her.
Okay. Okay. So in the meanwhile, I will continue about, as we said, about the participants who are with us. Let me introduce them in a couple of sentences. As I said, we have Dr. Muna Thani, who is also an entrepreneurship and business development expert and founder at Riyadh for social innovation, and she's from Lebanon, Beirut. She is working in the American University of Beirut and University of Lies. She is an engineer and academic and social entrepreneur, and she has been working for several years in the telecommunication multinational companies. And she joined the American University in 2011, where she served as a lecturer. And she was appointed as a coordinator of entrepreneurship initiatives in Marwan Sam'an Faculty of Engineering and Architecture from 2018 to 2021, where she was driving the faculty mission to becoming a leading entrepreneurship and innovation school. So Marianne is entering now. So Dr. Marianne, as I said and introduced her earlier, she will be now giving us her 10 minutes presentation about the situation in Egypt, and also some insights about the MENA region as a whole. Please, Dr. Marianne, you are with us. I saw her and I admitted her in.
Marianne, can you switch on? Yes.
Okay. You are with us now? Yes, your mic.
I saw you too, and thank you very much.
I think your network is a little bit has a problem.
Sharing the video and sharing right away in order not to lose the panels until I adjust in order not to lose time, and then I adjust with another network. I'm keen
Now we hear you. Now we hear you very good.
You hear me? Okay.
Yes, very good now.
the devices need to be threatened.
Yeah. Would you prefer to speak at the end, your presentation, or what do you think?
I would have prepared now, but I can speak at the end as well in order because to share the file to make sure everything is okay before starting the speech.
Okay.
So maybe you can start the panel. Thank you so much and sorry for this inconvenience.
No problem. We are sorry for your loss, and we hope that you will be joining, as you said, with a better network. Now we'll start with our panelists. As I said, we have Dr. Mona Thani, and I introduced her a little bit. And we have also with us we have Dr. Manar Abu Talib, who is the chair of the Research Outreach Department, Office of the Vice Chancellor, Office for Research and Graduate Studies at the University of Sharjah, United Arab Emirates. And she is the chair of the Research Outreach Department. And she is a faculty member at the College and Computing Informatics. She has also a long biography, mashallah, with her long experience. Her research interests include software engineering and substantial experience and knowledge in conducting research in software measurement, software quality, software testing, ISO 27001 for information security and open source software. And she's also working on ISO standards for measuring the functional size of software. She has received the Best Teacher Award 2 times and the Exemplary Faculty Award in 2008-2010, Google CS4HS Award in 2014. MashaAllah, different kinds of awards, different participation. She's an Outstanding University and Community Service Award in 2016, Exemplary Leader Award, WI STEM in 2016, and Exemplary Leader Award in Arab Week 2019. MashaAllah, as we said, we have really very good role models here with us. And we have Dr. Rima Abbasi also, who is an associate professor and the director of ICTCOM. She's from Tunisia and received her university habilitation and her PhD in ICT from SUBCOM, University of Carthage in 2021 and 2010 respectively. And she's currently an associate professor at ICTCOM and the director of the institute. She is also a member of the Digital Security Research Lab at SUBCOM Tunisia. Dr. Rima Abbasi, in July 2020, she was recognized as one of the top 50 women in cybersecurity in Africa, and in September 2020 as the best young researcher in computer science in Tunisia by the Tunisian Academy of Science, Letters and Arts. And her current research work is focusing on cybersecurity also. So as I told you, mashallah, we have really very good role models here with us. I hope I didn't forget anyone. I spoke about everyone here, I hope. And as we said, we have the 3 participants, and we have Dr. Marianne also, who is the 4th participant. We'll be speaking about different regions. Dr. Manar will be speaking about the Gulf and area and the situation for women in STEM there. Dr. Rima will be speaking about the Maghrebian countries, Morocco, Tunis, and Algeria. And also Dr. Mona Thani, she will be speaking about the Middle East region, concentrating on Lebanon as well as the women in STEM in general. So let's start our panel, and we would like to hear from each of you about the situation in the region that you want to speak about. So let's start by Dr. Manar. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Dr. Safa. This is an excellent introduction, and I'm very honored to be in this panel discussion with these esteemed women who have high experience. They are pioneers, and we do have successful examples in every region, and the initiatives globally has proven that we have excellent role models and excellent female researchers in STEM and in non-STEM. So basically, since I'm focusing in the Gulf, I was opening some statistics in front of me, and I'm living in UAE, but the situation is similarly having the same revolution in the making the high awareness for women and STEM in the UAE and in the Gulf countries. So UAE is considered the first in the MENA region, top ranked according to the index of women, peace and security, and it is the 24th globally for women inclusion. So they are leader. And in Saudi Arabia, they have started in 2020, even many rules has been changed. And this has been like the critical point of transformation in Saudi, that in some statistics said what would be the best Gulf countries for women to live and to contribute to the economics, it is in Saudi Arabia. So there is really, we can witness a good revolution on how the women are doing in STEM, and they are pursuing their graduate studies, and they are trying to make a big difference in the science engineering fields. So speaking about, the higher education, we can see that 77 of the Emirati women in UAE, they enter, and then 70 are graduating, this is an excellent percentage. And for the STEM, 56% out of this 70, they are pursuing. We can witness, and I can see that in the Gulf countries, that there are a good number of women that is higher than men when it comes to the university level. And this could be for many reasons. It doesn't mean that men, they are not pursuing the STEM careers, but they do their education outside the country, as has been mentioned in some from the chat box comments. But we do have a good number of women entering STEM fields that would be higher. I can witness this even in my university and in the neighbor universities, that women are doing a great job in the STEM fields. It could be also that this number is dropped when it comes to employment, and we will discuss this as the challenges and the reasons behind this drop down of a percentage. We do have also in the other fields that the women, they take the leadership 30%, and they occupy public sector in a very high percentage that would be reaching 60%. 30% they are leadership. 15% out of this, they are in technology and the STEM fields. So we will again discuss why these numbers are a little bit lower when it comes to employment, to the careers, to the public sector, and to the private sector. The women in government and business, they are doing good in the Gulf countries. They are paying the attention to play a vital role when it comes to the business and government. It could be not the same level for the STEM, and today we will see why, and we will discuss with my colleagues in the panel and what would be the recommendation to increase this percentage. So this is briefly, I will allow for my colleagues also to put the light on the women in STEM in the other countries.
Thank you very much, Dr. Manar. Dr. Muna, what do you think? What is the situation from your side?
Yes, hello everyone. Very happy to be with you today. The Middle East region, and I'll be focusing more on the Levant region, mainly Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Jordan. So basically, also our numbers, if we want to compare them with the rest of MENA, we have been seeing historically a good percentage of females who are joining STEM education at the undergraduate level, for example. I can talk about Lebanon more specifically because I have more insights on that. So, for example, at the American University of Beirut, when we look at the master's degrees and PhD degrees in STEM, we can definitely see more females than males. However, this is not just because more females want to pursue. Definitely, there are other cultural, economic, and other factors that affect these numbers. Now, I really want to highlight the current situation, and I would say there is a huge risk now. I believe a lot of you know already that this particular region is very unstable. Syria has been under war for many years. Iraq also very unstable for many years. Lebanon, unfortunately, we have lots of instability, and currently with the all the economic collapse, I would call it, we are facing a huge risk of changes in these numbers in terms of education. So this is a huge risk, and does not entail only females, but like the youth in general. This is a very alarming situation, I would say. In addition to that, due to the situation, there's a high level of brain drain. So those who are able to leave the country and find better opportunities somewhere else, whether in Europe or in the US or Canada, and sometimes in the Gulf, they are doing that actually. This definitely has two sides. The good part is that this would maybe allow more opportunities for those who stay, but it also means that we might have less qualified people in those positions, academic research, etc. So we want to make sure to mitigate these. I would say that the Lebanese University, for example, which is maybe one of the biggest employers of researchers and academics in these fields, also has been disrupted in a negative way in the past period. Lots of like the vast majority of academics are always on strike, and the whole educational system at the Lebanese University, which is the only public university in Lebanon, is hugely disrupted. So this is alarming because lots of people used to earn PhDs, etc., from the Lebanese University, especially those who could not afford to have, a private education or to travel to other countries. Now, when we talk more about the females, I would say the COVID pandemic maybe has presented some opportunities for females because, again, due to cultural reasons, etc., traveling is always more difficult for them to go pursue postgraduate education, fellowships, etc. So here is where maybe the emergence of online programs, distance learning, research programs, PhDs, fellowships could be a positive thing for females who can now pursue their dreams and to still climb in the ladder of being an academic and researcher despite being in a country here in the region. So maybe this is a snapshot of the initial situation. I would say we need to be careful about this region, and I mean, I wish really there was more support for this region, especially in terms of education, because this is what we're the strongest at. Like we don't have lots of resources, but we have good human talent. And we've been known to export human talent to the rest of the region. So we want to really preserve this excellence point. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mona, for your input about the region, the Levant region. I don't know if you forgot Palestine or it's by mistake, but it's okay.
No, yeah, I think you are better than me in terms of
no, because you named the countries, and
yes, of course. No, I'm sorry about that. So sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. So, Dr. Rima, what you want to tell us about the situation in the Maghreb countries? Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Safa. I think the situation is not far different from the situation depicted by Dr. Mona and Dr. Manar. So I will try to give you a little snapshot about the Maghreb area, especially Tunisia, Algeria, and Morocco. So as the keynote speaker said, Tunisia is currently ranked 126 on the Global Gap Index. Algeria is ranked 136 and Morocco 144. And concerning the educational attainment, Tunisia is ranked 108, which is even better. Algeria 111, and Morocco is a little bit later with 148. And Moreover, according to the UNESCO Institute of Statistics, Tunisia has the greatest participation of female researchers in Africa, with 56% of the total researcher. Algeria is second with 47, and Morocco come a little bit later with 33%. So what can we conclude from these statistics? In fact, education is very important in Tunisia, in Algeria, in Morocco, in all the region of the Maghreb area and the Middle East, I think. And let's say we have a common, or generally in this area, we have a family dream, or maybe a wish, maybe, is to have their girls having an academic career. This is mainly due to some stereotypes, estimating that girls have to be involved in a job that will allow them to be more available for their family, and then to have what we can call a clean-handed job. So most of the girls will have university levels and will start a university career. Most of them maybe by default, just to have a rewarding job and to satisfy everybody. It was my case. But what we are seeing is, in my university, for example, the last man who was recruited was in 2016. And since 2016, we have only women. And my university is specialized in ICT. So we are just teaching telecommunication and cybersecurity and whatever. So, but the paradox here is most of the women that will start an academic career and doing research will just stop when starting their first position as assistant professor. So they have the position, they are happy with this position, and they will mainly stop doing research. And that's why we see that the number of women researchers in higher position, like professor and associate professor, is lower. So I think we will have the opportunity to discuss the why of the question, but this is a brief, description of the situation in Tunisia, Morocco, and Algeria.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Rima. By the way, do you have any vacancy for me?
We'll be more than happy to have you with us.
Allah khalik. Thank you very much. So we heard now the actual situation in the different regions and different countries, and we see that there is some similarities, as Dr. Manar said, also between our regions, with having the high percentage in the university, while it is less in the private sector or in the employment or in the research. So what are the barriers? What are the opportunities? What do you think? Is it the legal environment? Is it access to funding? Is it access to information about the initiatives and the programs? Is it some actually economical barriers or social barriers, family barriers? What do you think? Dr. Manar, please go ahead.
Dr. Safa, you summarized it. But let's speak even louder about what's happening really. So the main reason, and this is what we always, because we are in the field and we are always would like to solve and to contribute, and we are up to the date of the statistics and the research that is done on this field. We should admit that the awareness today is higher, way higher than before. There are great efforts done. There are great associations like NWIS. There are many nice initiatives are being done in the area in different parts of the world. We can see that the awareness is high. And we are happy, we are satisfied that we reach to this high level of awareness. But the main reason actually it comes from the education system. So when it comes to the cultural, we will talk now about from the cultural aspect, from the family's perspective. They have a big influence on their kids when they go to choose their majors. And this till now, it is a big factor. Till now, even we have high awareness, But in the education system, plus the culture, plus the family decisions on their kids to choose their majors, this is playing a big factor. Another factor that I can see that maybe in Gulf countries, I'm not sure about the other countries, but here the women, they look always to work in public sector because they feel it is secure. They are career security. They feel that once they get employed in this field, they are long-term in this without thinking with fear to lose their job. And because they are in the public sector, that means they will be working in some administrative positions. That's why the drop down in the STEM, the real STEM fields becomes low. Yes, it is having two trade-off. The trade-off that, okay, nice to have nice women in senior positions in public sectors leading, and it's good, but we are losing them in the technical and in the science and in the engineering positions where we really also need their engagement and involvement. So having women in private sector in Gulf countries is still, it's a big issue. And actually this is what it make the numbers a little bit lower in the STEM when they start their careers and so forth. Now, the other thing is, it is also proven globally that women, when they are entering the STEM, they are contributing very well to the economic of the countries. So still, this is, we need to work together. It's a challenge. We need to make them more involved so that they can contribute to the economics and they can improve it. But still, it is an efforts that's we have good efforts, but we still need to sustain these efforts and to make it even a bigger number when they come to contribute to the economic growth. There is some absence somewhere there. It's improving in the Gulf countries, maybe better than the other MENA region, but still it is something that we need to discuss. Now, in the Gulf countries, I might speak about Saudi Arabia and UAE, Bahrain, Oman. They are good in numbers in STEM, but still the numbers can be improved. For example, for Mars mission in UAE, believe it or not, 50% are women. So it is a STEM field, and it is the half a percentage, which is, it's very optimistic and good numbers. But that doesn't mean that there are some areas where we see low numbers in the other fields of the STEM. We can learn from the successful stories to allow the other and the lessons learned from the high percentage to increase in the other STEM fields. I would love to hear also from my colleagues in the panel.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Dr. Manar, and also, as you said, the family, it's a major, not problem, but it's a major issue that I need you to go to be a nurse, or you want you to be a teacher so that you can take care of your kids and have vacancies at the same time that they have holidays and so on. So they limit their involvement in different fields, as you said, in the private sector and so on. And I cannot agree more also how Dr. Ms. Kauthar Hedeb told us that when you have women in the private sector, in the administrative senior levels, the revenues increases. This is the first time I hear about these very important statistics, the 3.5% increase the revenues when they have ladies. So this is a point that we should be used in the future with the private sector to encourage more ladies to be there, talking to men. Unfortunately, when we have such webinars and talks, we have only ladies participating, and sometimes we are talking to each other, but I hope the message will reach our senior, the officials and the policymakers so that they change some of this. So, Dr. Muna, what do you think? Is it different there, or you agree with the point said by Dr. Manar? Please go ahead.
Yes, definitely, I agree, but I also have some things to add. So, because I actually moved recently to the business school, so I would really like to talk about the social construction of women. And I'm not blaming women here, I'm blaming the society mostly on how women are raised. Unfortunately, we all know that men are usually, or like boys are raised to be more aggressive, more hustlers. They go and ask, they check, whereas women, like we sort of wait for the opportunity to come our way if we want to apply for funding, let's say, or so on. Also, when it comes to networking, usually men are better networkers. They tend to travel, create connections, and all of this will help them in terms of finding funding opportunities, applying to these, and also having a bigger chance of getting accepted. So also there's a research study which is very interesting that proved that whenever females are applying to jobs, when they look at the eligibility criteria, they make sure that they actually tick all the boxes. So they exactly meet the criteria before they apply. Whereas in real life, the employers might not meet for 100% fitting. However, maybe 60, 70, 80%. Whereas men, they don't mind, like they would actually go and apply. So I believe the same thing happens in terms of applying to funding opportunities, to grants, and so on. There is some lack of confidence here and taking things maybe too seriously by the book, whereas real life is somehow a bit more flexible. In terms of legal, I would definitely say, and I'm referring to Lebanon because I'm more like familiar with the Lebanese ecosystem, we definitely have lack of legal frameworks, especially when it comes to intellectual property, for example. So here in AUB, our director of Office of Grants and Contracts, who's also responsible for the technology transfer unit, always advises us not to register any intellectual property in Lebanon because there has been several leakage cases. So, I mean, imagine this. So it like sort of works against you, and they only register IP beyond Lebanon. And unfortunately, until today, the Lebanese parliament did not sign some agreements internationally that would protect the intellectual property. I mean, it's really a big shame. Also, there's a big lack in terms of spin-off mechanisms. So I'm also now focusing more on entrepreneurship. And we know that in technology and STEM and engineering, lots of inventions or innovations can actually spin off as entrepreneurial endeavors and startups. And unfortunately, we don't have adequate spin-off mechanisms. So this does not only hinder females, of course, it hinders everyone, but also if these are outlined and they are clearer, this will also encourage more females to go there again, because they are not as hustlers and aggressive as the men around them. So also in terms of, as I mentioned, funding, traveling, I believe sometimes is a condition to be part of certain programs, fellowships, etc. And still until today, I know lots of females who are in high academic positions, associate and full professors, and their families are not very supportive of them traveling for long times, for like a semester long without their family or for a few months. Even I had an opportunity in the summer to travel for more than a month, and actually the people in the administration were a bit surprised that I expressed interest, given that I have kids and one of them is still like very young. So I think definitely the culture is somehow impeding in this area, and they make you feel guilty. So I wasn't feeling very guilty at first. I was like, it's fine, I'll go for a month. And then now I feel more guilty than ever because, you know, everyone's like, how can you do it? How can you leave? And now I'm like really trying hard to have visas for my kids so they can join for at least part of the duration. So definitely the cultural barriers are huge. Also, I mentioned earlier that we have more master's and PhD students who are females in STEM. But again, this is because the men travel. They don't stay in Lebanon. They go and pursue their postgraduate degrees abroad, either in the US, Canada, or Europe. Whereas the females, lots of them, their families don't accept that they go abroad, and thus they are limited with the choices, and they end up doing this in Lebanon. So yeah, I think this is somehow a snapshot of the situation as well.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Mona. Yes, you pointed some very important points here, and I was laughing when you said about women. Make sure that we are perfectionists, unfortunately and fortunately sometimes. we have to meet every criteria in the application or we don't apply. When we do our work, we look to every point and they don't. And I read a research paper by Harvard that there are 7 lessons, leadership lessons that men should learn from women because of what we do and our attitude when we do things. And it is really very good. It's the inverse of, but sometimes because men take the risk and apply even if they don't know anything, and they claim that they know sometimes, asaf. So yes, we have to have more self-esteem and trust in ourselves and our abilities. And we have to read a little bit about the imposter syndrome, if you have read about it, that we ladies are always perfectionists. We have to do everything and make sure of every detail and so on. So really, thank you for your intervention, Dr. Mona. So Dr. Rima, what do you have to add, please? Go ahead.
How can I add something after Dr. Mona and Dr. Manal?
MashaAllah.
Okay, so I totally agree with you, Dr. Mona. The first barrier is personal, since the women need to have 100% to apply for funding, for program, for scholarships, and that's the first barrier. We are making we are putting our own barriers. But let me add, and let me put my cybersecurity hat and try to point this point of view. So the second barrier, I think, is cultural. In fact, girls are victim of stereotypes. Let me explain. In fact, usually we say that girls have to do jobs that are needing empathy, that are needing like social interaction, human interaction, human relation, mainly like healthcare or something like that. And so girls are, when they're very young, they simply do self-censorships. They will avoid ICT, they will avoid math-based domain, which means that they obviously start with less opportunities. And it's like in Sudan, for example, we ask girls in secondary school, I think, why they are not doing well in math. And the response, guess what? It was like, wow, it was because we are girls. That was the response. Yeah, that's why we are not doing well. So this stereotype and this culture is put in these girls when they are still young. And let me just take 3 seconds and ask you to take 3 seconds and just close your eyes and just imagine a cybersecurity expert. Just imagine. And I'm sure that most of you will just imagine a geek boy wearing a dark suit with in a dark room with a lot of coffee and something else, let's say, and sitting behind his laptop. And such kind of stereotype will definitively not encourage girls to go to such domain, especially for cybersecurity. And the third barrier is the lack of mentorship. Girls have limited exposure to female role models. In fact, their interest and confidence in their ability will increase when they are exposed to positive role models, when they are identifying themselves with women that look like they're, I don't know, speak like they're, eat like they're. So observing and interacting with women who are expert will improve girls' attitude towards research in ICT in particular. And hearing the stories of women who look and sound like them, such I said, can help to alleviate this gender stereotype. So I usually try to do stories with my cybersecurity career, so that to encourage girls to go and to be cybersecurity expert, which is very interesting. In fact, we are missing a lot of cybersecurity experts in the whole world, let's say. And imagine we have 3 million of unfilled jobs in cybersecurity in the world. in the world, and this number will go and will be bigger. And a recent survey of cybersecurity professional has revealed that we have a chronic shortage for the MENA region of women working in cybersecurity, with only 5% in the MENA region. So you have just to imagine the loss for the humanity, for the world, and for these girls. So we have really to find solution for this personal, cultural, and lack of mentorships and all these barriers.
Yeah, very well said, Dr. Rima. Thank you very much. Stereotyping is really killing many of the innovations as well as the opportunities that women, ladies have in the domain, the STEM and other domains also. And they are like a prison for some of us, so that they cannot move outside of it. And as you said, the role model issue is very important, as well as the mentorship. And what you said about your domain of the cybersecurity, yeah, really, there are very few people there. Here in this panel, we have 3 experts in cybersecurity.
Lucky.
But I think we should speak more to the young people to convince them of these domains, that there are really opportunities, and they can work well in these fields. So would you suggest for us any examples, adopted solutions in your countries? What do you give as examples of something you want to share with us, initiatives, projects? What do you have, Dr. Manar, please?
Well, the best, I will start with what Dr. Rima, because she always say we cover everything. You covered a big point, which is the mentorship and the role models. So I would advise, and I would like to see all the women be members in associations where they are building this big network. This is where we are heard, where our voices are loud, and where we feel that we are in a good platform, and our challenges are common and our solutions can be shared. So being really part of associations, this is where you can start. Now, in terms of GCC, we have a lot of initiatives done for women, and this is where I need to encourage, plus the association to be a member of, plus being in a network so that you can have a picture to get inspired by them, and plus the role models, especially we have a lot of pioneers, female doing well in STEM and non-STEM. So being attached to all of this, it will change your life. I'm one of these people who have been changed because I am part of associations. One of them is Arab Women in Computing, which is my field, which we have 19 chapters spread in the Arab world. And I see the challenges in that big scope, and I can see that I can contribute, I can learn, and I can also give. So it changed me completely. Manar from a long time ago is different than Manar today because I'm part of these communities. So this is very important. Initiatives in GCC, we have a lot. Like when I look in the STEM and non-STEM, they put, because of the high awareness, they put a good initiatives, and this is move the wheel forward and fast and effective, where they are contributing to summits. We have a lot of summits to celebrate women achievements. Not only that, to share their research work. Ourselves in the University of Sharjah, we started 3 years ago, Women in Research Initiative. And I cannot tell you how successful it is, because you feel the need, the women need to see their research work, and it is covering all the fields that's STEM and non-STEM, which is medicine, pharmacy, health sciences, dentistry, engineering, sciences, computing, and humanities, social, law, business. everything. So yes, it was started small, but I can tell you it will grow massively because we saw the need from the women to share their research and to feel that they can get given a small grants to help them to conduct their research. So 2 points I can summarize is the mentorship, as Dr. Rima mentioned, and the role models, and the platform, the association, and the initiative. Of course, we need a national program. We need the framework that has been pointed by excellent people in this chat box. This national program will speed up for sure the good efforts and the women that they are doing in the country level. And the decision makers we can see in media, I always follow up. I saw organizations, they put it in the agenda and they announced it in March, which is the month for women, that they are targeting by 2025 to see 50% of the women leading in the technology. So seeing this in news and in the media, it really enlightening ourselves, and we feel there is a big hope that things are moving and changing in a positive and impactful side.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Manar. Really you pointed some very important points that we, as we said in the chat, they are very interactive also, and putting some very important, we will go back to them after we hear Dr. Mona and Dr. Rima, and then we will open the floor for discussion and hearing from the participants. But Dr. Mona, please go ahead.
Yes, I actually would like to highlight a few initiatives that were actually launched here at the American University of Beirut. So I would really like to give my big appreciation to a lot of women academics and colleagues here at the Alayan School of Business who are doing initiatives. For example, we have the Female Academic Role Model Empowerment for Equality and Sustainability. It's called the FREE Project. This was launched almost a year ago, and now they also have a set of online training programs and sessions for academics in this field. So this is one very important initiative. I can maybe share with you the links later on. Also, we have what we call the Center for Inclusive Business and Leadership for Women. So they are making sure, like, this really taps upon the representation of women in the private sector and leadership positions, not just in STEM, but maybe more generally. And they are really doing a great job there, not just with research, but with policy recommendations, with reports, training programs, and others. So this is also another one. I would like to also say that OSB, the Alayan School of Business, has launched a mentorship program for junior faculty members. So because I am, for example, an assistant professor, I do have a mentor. It is a male, however, he is very empathetic, I would say. And some, of course, female academics have also female mentors. It is also very good because they would put you on the right track, give you resources, suggest that you do research collaborations, and so on. So this is on the point of mentorship. So definitely, I would say that there is an awareness around these issues and that we need solutions for them. Luckily, there are funding agencies who are interested in these initiatives. So all of what I just mentioned is actually funded either by the EU or some other big donors. And definitely, I would like to tell all the audience that there are also more funding opportunities for such initiatives. So again, based on our previous intervention, we should, as female academics and activists in this field, we should not be afraid to suggest our own programs, to suggest our own intervention programs and initiatives, and maybe apply for funding, because this is something that is of interest to donors, and this is how we create this ripple effect, I believe.
Yeah, exactly, Dr. Mona, thank you. And the people in the audience are asking you to share in the chat, if you can share some of the examples that you spoke about, they are very, really good initiatives. And as Dr. Manar also said, being part of the associations and the communities, the different communities, ladies will have more exposure to what is going on around us. So if we can also give us some links about the different associations and the names of the research networks that ladies can be part of, it is really very, very useful. Dr. Rima, please, you always add very good, important points. Go ahead. You are always the last one, but you also give the cream of the cream also. Don't worry. Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to share some slides, just 3 slides. I don't know if can I?
They should make you co-host.
I cannot. It's not a problem if I cannot do it.
If Najla, can you make Dr. Rima co-host so that she can share? Or Sylvia? Yeah, now you can share.
I think you can share it now. Why don't you try? Yeah.
You see the green button, the share screen?
Yeah, but
don't you see it?
Yeah. I have a problem with the confidentiality of my laptop.
Very, very high secure.
Yeah, it's very secure. So it's not a problem. Don't waste the time. I will just, I would like to share with you an initiative that we had in Tunisia like recently, which is called Startup Tunisia. So Startup Tunisia is a vision to try to make Tunisia a country of startups at the crossroad of the Mediterranean and the MENA region and Africa. So it's kind of new legal framework to promote startups and innovation that is launched and settled in Tunisia. And it is based on a label of merit and a series of advantages and incentives for innovator and startups and investor. So for example, the startups will be exempt from corporate tax. They will have special consideration for customs. They will have like authorization to exchange foreign currency, let's say, with the technological card, and to be exempted from the Telecommunication Study and Research Center approval, which is an instance in Tunisia, and they will have a special amount in foreign currencies to use. So all this framework was used in Tunisia in order to encourage innovation and encourage boys and girls, let's say. But I have like I would some statistic about women representation in Tunisia startups due to this initiative, which is Startup Tunisia. And we can see that the level of education of women that participated in this labeling program was more than 70% of them holding back +5 and above. So the back is the 7 years after the secondary school, if at the end of the secondary school, and the average age of these girls are 33 years old on average, and most of them, so 40% of them, are belonging to engineering and technological sector. And the female representation of women in startups that are founded exclusively by women is about 5%. Startup funded by mixed team is about 65%, and startup funded exclusively by men is 30%. So you can find all these statistics and all these platform using the website. I will share the website. And in fact, this did that 4% of the share of fundraising in 2020 was by startup funded exclusively by women. I know it's not very, very high, but it's still, let's say, something very important to highlight. And 500 kilo Tunisian dinar of fund raised by 2 startups funded exclusively by women in 2020. And for 52% of startups launched exclusively by women had access to support in 2020 and in the previous years. And this shows that women, such initiative like Startup Tunisia can help really encouraging innovation for women, either by their own, which means startup funded only by women, or by associating women with boys, which is not a problem to have both of them co-funding startups and innovating in any field, technological or whatever. So this one of the success story of the Tunisia in the last years, which is called Startup Act, and I will share the link in the discussion.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Rima. And as you said at the end, co-founding together is not a problem. It's the inverse. We should work together, but we should also make sure that they don't act as the bosses and we are employees with them. We are co-founders. We have the same rights. I have a daughter who's 15 years old only, and she is a co-founder in a startup, and she is always there, and she doesn't accept that they give her instructions. She is a co-founder. She gives them sometimes you have to share instructions, of course, and you have to agree on things, but to feel that she is inferior to them, she doesn't allow it. So I think we should learn from each other how to act when you are founding an institute, a startup or an organization. It's not easy because of the stereotyping. They are the bosses and we work for them sometimes. And it's really a skill that ladies should learn. So thank you very much for all your inputs, and we may allow now, we may ask Dr. Marian, because she will be giving her presentation, I hope, for 7 minutes now. You are deprived of 3 minutes, Dr. Marian. So because we have to give the floor also for questions. So Dr. Marian, please go ahead.
Okay. Again, it's a pleasure to be with you, and I'll start by presenting. Can you see the slides?
Yes, clear.
Okay. So we're talking about a lot of things about women in technology. And you tackled in the panel a lot of things: the current situation, the barriers, and the opportunities. So I'll go deep about talking about the situation in Egypt. And talking about Egypt, there is a big history and all this gold, as we say. So our history, we are proud to be Egyptian scientists. There was a famous Greek woman who wished to become a doctor in Athens, but she was forbidden. Meanwhile, the Egyptian pioneer women were practicing science and medicine. So she traveled to Alexandria and she received her training. She returned to Athens to practice as a physician. So there were ancient Egyptians who are our role models. There's Merit Petah, who was the first woman in history of science and medicine. She was the chief physician and the beloved of the gods, and Cleopatra, the pharmacologist. There are other role models, like someone who was specialized in mathematics, born in 1904, Dr. Helena Sidaros, and Dr. Samira Musa, who was working in nuclear sciences, and she was killed in a car accident in the US. So we never let our memories be greater than our dreams, and our history is not greater and more important than our future. That's how we think. So we think that gender equality empowers the scientific research. And as you see, I'm not sure if the slide has transitioned, but there is the W. These are the women who are contributing in the scientific research. Talking about statistics, there are a lot of students in scientific faculties, and as you can see from the chart, computer science, the males out, the number of the males is more than the number of females, in medicine as well, in other sciences. So there is still a gap in the enrollment of the students. This is an old statistic, not as new as the other one, but it shows the percentage of jobs held by women in various computations. So if you can see the minimum, where the software developers and the computer hardware engineers, and the maximum is the operations research. These like statistics give us an indication where the trend is going and where we need to pinpoint the problems and get solutions. The problem is not only in the enrollment, but this is an international statistic that the men quit the jobs in high-tech industry by 17%, while the women, 41% quit their jobs. And this is divided, as you can see, in the different statistics, like in science occupation, 47% quit women, and the technology, 56% quit. So this is a huge number. And the logic question that comes afterwards, where do they go? So in those statistics, 51% who abandon their job, they go to non-set jobs in different companies, or go to non-set jobs in the same company, or time out of the workplace. So this is an alarm and an important thing to consider. Another thing is the top tech occupations for women and men. You find the female project managers, which is not that technical, and the males are software engineers. I'm trying to respect the 7 minutes, so I found this interesting statistic. People were asked if they found that their company provides actual support, because that's why they quit, and only quarter of them, 1/4 of them, said there is actual support, but the others were like, it's not applicable or not sure. So there is a unique case for in Egypt. There is a faculty for girls only, affiliated to a big university, and it was established in 1950, and the dean is always a female and has like different scientific sections. There are a lot of statistics that I can share, but if we look to that pie chart and we find the Egyptian researchers in different specializations, we find that the tech and engineering is 7.15% only. So this is very, very little. And talking about research with scientific degrees, as you can see from this alarming chart, that the females start high, but the number decreases and the number of men increases in the higher ranks, like professors or emeritus professor. Another thing is the full-time equivalent researcher in government sections by the field of science. You find that in engineering and science, the female number is very low, as you mentioned. So I'll stop talking about statistics and saying why do we need scientists or women scientists? We know we are interdisciplinary, multitasking, and creative. We know that if you exclude 50% of the talent pool, no wonder you find yourself in a war of talent. So the questions is, why not? And this is the thing about the barrier that we still find in Egypt, and it's the same problem. There is the stereotyping, there's the mindset, that the lack of self-confidence, the fear, the perfection, the family, the society, and bias. This figure says it all, and it applies in Egypt and it applies everywhere. Although now in Egypt there is that political will to empower women in different domains. And there in the year 2018, it was the year of women with real empowerment. However, the change is also needed, as in everywhere. So you mentioned a lot about the stereotyping, so I'm not talking about it, but there is that mindset that success and likability are positively correlated to men and negatively correlated to women. And this is what we are trying to do in Egypt and everywhere in the world. There is the lack of self-confidence, and we need to say that some leaders are born women, so be self-confident. There is that fear. And the fear, you know, that the ship is in a port is safe, but it's not designed to be in the port. So another thing is the perfection. And an interesting HP report found that men would apply for a job if they meet 60% of the qualifications, while women who have the sense of perfection, they need to meet 100% of the qualifications. So we shouldn't be afraid of putting ourselves forward, especially with the barrier of the family. They say that the family is a stopper, but we say that if a family comes first, and we have really successful examples, work does not come second, life comes together. And this is what we believe. So the closing part of this presentation of what we can do and how we could overcome this. We need all hands on deck, and that means clearing hurdles for women and girls. So there is an interesting thing, Dr. Manar and I and other of my colleagues on the panel today, we are in the Arab Women in Computing. You talked about mentorship, and this organization was founded in 2012. We are co-founders of this organization to empower women, to provide mentorship, to make conferences, to give space to women to excel in their scientific research. So the Arab Women in Computing is in a lot of countries, and this is a very it's like a hub for women to excel. In Egypt, talking about Egypt, we have the National Council of Women, and it follows and reports directly to His Excellency the President. And we have a lot of committees. One of them is for the scientific research, and this is a very successful model because it aims to building skills of scientists, giving mentorships, helping young women to solve a lot of problems and issues, and study a lot of causes that are the hurdles for women to overcome them. So this is like a nice model. Ending this presentation, I would say that we need a lot of things. We need the self-confidence, breaking that I can't do it to I can do it. We need also to have the ambivalence, to move from the area, the gray zone of what do I want, to the zone I know what I want. And to believe that technology and science are there for us, and we are there for technology and science. We need to start our own branding in the STEM fields, and we can do that. A lot of role models have set the example. We need just to follow the networking. And here I would mention and value this event and the International Network for Women Scientists, to help women, to empower women, to lead the way for them and to pave the way for them. We need to ask, what do we want? We need to know, and to be realistic, not asking why can't I do it all. We need to know, to say, I don't want to do it all. I want to do something perfectly. And perfectly in the sense that I'll be a balanced person between my family, between my job, between everything. Finally, we need to see our goals, understand the obstacles, create a positive mental picture about ourselves, clearing our minds of self-doubt, embracing the challenge, staying on track and up to date, and showing the world we can do it. This is important. I would end this presentation or short briefing by a quote that I think it's very important to get more women into computing, because my slogan is computing is too important to be left to men. This was not said by me. but by Karen. Another quote that I love says that women are like tea bag. You never know how strong they are until they are put in hot water. Thank you so much, and I hope it wasn't too fast for you.
I don't want to go in hot water. Please, it's too hot today.
Someone told me, you want to burn us, Marianne? I said, no.
Yeah, but there is an experiment with the frog in the hot water, and it is really a very important story. If you want to hear about it, you can look for it, because yes, being put in the you have to work against all the barriers that is around you. And I would like first to start by thanking you, Dr. Marianne, for your presentation, because it summarized, I think, all what we have here, the ladies participating, our esteemed guests have said about the stereotyping and the need for the initiatives, and I don't want to do it all, and the perfectionist side of us, that we want to do everything and make sure that everything is done, and that I can do it, and have the self-esteem and the self-confidence also, and that I know what I want. It's very important. And the last slide, where you have the success, dividing every character of the success to lead to like instructions what we should do. And also speaking about the different organizations and networking associations that we should be part of, as Dr. Manar said, and all the ladies here also spoke about. Dr. Rima also spoke about some, and Dr. Mona also. And I would like also to tell you about the OWSD, the Organization for Women in Science also and Development. It's also another network where you can be part of it in all the regions. I think they have chapters in every country in the Arab world also. And so now we had, as I said at the beginning, we had many interactions and questions and comments from the audience. So we have to give the floor to the audience. So if you have any question or any a comment you want to say, but only in less than a minute, so that to give the chance for everyone to speak. So please raise your hand so that we can give you the chance to say what you want. I don't see any raised hands.
Dr. Safa, we answered them on the spot. Yani, we're very active,
I think,
women.
Yeah, mashallah, Dr. Manar, we're very active.
And even Dr. Mona, she put the link, and Dr. Rima, she commented. Yani, mashallah, we are multitasking. But of course, everyone is welcome to open the mic.
Yeah.
And
this is one of our very important traits and skills, is that multitasking that men cannot do at all. If I speak to my husband and he is hearing the news, he says, no, stop. He stops the TV and then he listens to me. We speak to each other. We speak to our kids, and we do the housework, and we do our task at the same time with no problem.
I need to tell you that your husband is a gentleman, because he closes and listens. Others don't do this. So
I don't know if he listens, but he give me he stops the news. I don't know if he is listening.
He's a gentleman, definitely.
Thank you. So I agree with we have we have Rauda Kilani, who gave some very important points here. That, for example, in Tunisia, they have a very important number of researchers as well as startups, but unfortunately, most of them try to register in France, I think, or outside, at least outside Tunisia. As also Dr. Mona said, because of the legal framework for the intellectual property law that doesn't really protect our ideas or our innovations. So many of them are obliged, unfortunately, to travel to other countries, to Europe or to the USA, and they register it there. So it is not counted as it is our own country's innovation or research or so on. And because of the brain drain that you spoke about also, many of the best people are abroad, and they are counted as British or American or French or whatever, because they are living there, and the research is registered at the name of the the countries there, unfortunately. What else? We had many important points, as Dr. Manar also said. He was always replying to them and answering about it and saying what very important points were said. So we don't have still hands raised. Yalla, ya people. Yalla, please, our people here. Please ask any question. Yalla. I think we are on time now. We spent a very good 2 hours together, 120 minutes together with these inspiring ladies. You are all role models in your, not only in your, as I said, in your country or on your domain, but regionally and globally. And I am very happy to have met you. And very important output of this webinar is the follow-up. And I always emphasize that follow-up is very important. The meeting together, networking together is good, but what's very important is what we can do afterwards. So I would be very happy. We have all our contacts and we can share it with whoever wants here, so that we can do projects or replicate projects. I liked very much the idea. I liked all the ideas, but I like the academy, the Gender Academy, Gender Equality Academy presented by Dr. Mona, and I would like very much to do it because lately in our university, I spoke to a couple of ladies. I am in a position which is called Presidential Secretary General, a very big job, where I am with the president, looking over all the vice presidents and so on. And I met with many ladies in our university, and some of them are a little bit depressed and nobody listens to us, or we have this idea and nobody is encouraging us and so on. So I did last week an event for ladies only, as also only an encouragement and like incentives that you have somebody to hear you. Let's work together. Let's do a framework for us together to work and so on. And I have many positive feedback about this initiative. So I think doing like a Gender Equality Academy in the university as part of the university maybe will be a good initiative that will encourage them and have some specific training that will put some self-confidence and also teach them some development or some skills that they need in their work. So,
I do agree, Dr. Safa, if I may intervene in this. We have this experience in Egypt where there is a course that I teach is gender governance, and it takes it all, starting from the gender equality concept till the budgeting and the international organizations, a lot. This is a very rich course, but I saw my students before and after the course, and this was the most important in their projects. The men were very strong. They were even stronger in their passion about the gender equality. So I'm very happy with that course. It's an online course that I taught, and I think it's a cornerstone for everyone to start being like a fan of gender equality.
Well, very, very good idea. Maybe we can have you as a guest speaker in our university. You know, now with the Zoom, with the pandemic, fortunately and unfortunately with the pandemic, we have this opportunity to have guest-less lectures from all over the world with the technology, with this Zoom. So we will be very glad if you can accept to be like a guest lecturer or speak about this course. Maybe we can also cooperate together from the different regions in this issue. It's very good, I think.
Honor and pleasure.
Allah khaliki. Najla, please, your hand is raised. You want to ask a question?
Yes,
You are the
I
host
would
of
like
the
to ask
event.
a question.
Yeah.
In fact, we noted in this webinar once again that there are many initiatives that are conducted in different countries of our region and also in other regions. So how can we share these initiatives and build on them? Perhaps InWest as a universal platform can help on this, but perhaps you have also to suggest concrete initiatives to share these ideas or these experiences, politics, etc. For example, perhaps you can make a platform to share these initiatives. Perhaps you have to plan for common events like hackathons or something like that. What kind of initiatives we can suggest to collaborate together and to share our different experiences?
Please, Dr. Manar, Dr. Muna, Dr. Rima, Dr. Marianne, Professor Jungsang, or Kauthar, if you have any reply to Najla, please go ahead.
I think we don't need to reinvent the wheel, Najla. You're doing a great job in NWIS. I think Jang Sang Kim, she already talked about an international conference that they do every couple of years. So if we just need to hear about it before the time and to be engaged to these existing initiatives before time. And what has been mentioned in today's panel discussion, this is also existing initiatives. We just need to be more together, coordinating better, combining the efforts. And I think this will be stronger impact rather than creating really new initiative. I think the new initiative is to combine all of these initiatives in one basket and make sure that everybody is hearing about them and involved and engaged.
Yes, I agree. Yes, Dr. Mona, go ahead.
To like repeat something Dr. Safa mentioned at the very beginning, and I think based on my experience in this field, I've been very active in like women in tech, women in engineering, etc., like initiatives for the past maybe 7 years. Is that as you mentioned, Dr. Safa, most of the time we're talking to each other about these topics, very important topics. And maybe, and I mean, you as also a member in the government, I think we need to make sure that there are solid linkages with policymakers on these issues. I mean, unfortunately, in Lebanon, I know, I mean, the government is not interested, unfortunately. There isn't much to be done, at least in the current situation, but I'm sure that some other governments would be more willing and like, you know, more willing to hear, to listen, to have task forces, etc. So I think this is the missing link, because we very well are aware of the problem and there are lots of solutions, as we mentioned, lots of great examples to be replicated or to benefit from in terms of collaborations, but the policymakers are really not doing much around this. And this is where, I mean, this is a big obstacle that we cannot ourselves change. So I believe if we can like put some effort, more effort in terms of how to really make sure that these messages get to the highest leadership in the country, on the legal framework level, to the parliament, etc. This is maybe what is missing still, and in the MENA, at least in the MENA region.
Yeah, very important to have the solid links with the government and policymakers, because we need them to move. And sometimes we hear only sentences without real steps. يعني قول بدون فعل للأسف sometimes. Yes, Dr. Rima. Suggestions.
So yeah, I totally agree with Dr. Muna and Dr. Manar. The idea is just to combine what's already exists, and to have the maybe what exists in Lebanon and which is not very well done or not very well succeeding will succeed more in Tunisia, and this will be benefit for both Lebanon and Tunisia at the end. So we have just to be aware of what is done in each country, and this webinar was really very, very interesting for me personally. So to be aware of these initiatives, and then to try to apply them and to collaborate and to collect them, and yeah, that's the idea, I think. And Dr. Muna, you are right. We have to talk also to policymakers, men or women. So maybe they are men more than women. So we have to talk to them and to convince them to do action and to stop talking for talking.
Yes, talking for talking. Yes, I like this expression. Professor Jungsang, please go ahead.
Yes. I think Georgia has just left a very important message in the chat. And you will see that this, in fact, is the reason why we are doing this series of webinar. And I think we had a very good start off. And I think by compiling all these information and by putting all these together from different regions, when they come into a final form of report, they can be sent to the different governments who are going to be, who hopefully will look into the possibility of a legal framework, because there are some countries that do have these policies into a more legal form and some not. So, and this is actually the purpose also of INWES. We try to do international networking so that these informations can be shared with different countries so that we can serve as getting these legal frameworks into action. So I'm very happy that we are able to discuss this, and I hope that this is going to be a start of many, many more discussions. Thank you. Oh, and can I also just introduce to you our Vice President Conference is Georgia Kremida, who is in fact the person in charge of this project from the University of Warwick. She's with us here.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much. That was an amazing workshop. I'm really excited. I have no words to say how grateful we are. Striking data, amazing initiatives, and so much work done from everyone. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
And I would also like to bring your attention to our treasurer, the INWES treasurer, Sylvia Kegel, who is actually also in charge of our IT team, and she is valuable in making all these webinars possible. Sylvia, do you want to say something?
Too many clicks on my screen. Hello to everyone. It was a pleasure to serve this panel and all the discussion, and looking forward to the next ones. Let's change the world.
Yes, let's change the world, but together. This is very important. We have to learn how to work together and really work on changing the world, because we can. I can, and you can. Every one of you can. And I hope to meet you in the next webinar, in the next project, and stay in contact. Thank you, everyone, for making this a success. And thank you for our participants, our esteemed guest lecturers, our participants. Professor Jung-Sang, thank you for staying with us all the time. We really appreciate your support for INWES and hope to hear always very good news from you and very good initiatives. Thanks to everyone.
Excuse me.
Thank you, Dr.
Excuse me,
Safa,
Dr.
for the
Safa.
excellent moderation.
Yes. Sorry.
Excuse me, we have Vicky who raised her hand.
Vicky said she just came from the meeting, and this is what she said. I don't know if she wants to ask anything, but I think we can finish
Vicky?
here because she wasn't with us all the time. She said she just came in. Vicky, do you hear us? I think she only raised the hand when
No,
she came.
no, I wanted
Yeah.
to ask a question. Good
Okay.
morning, everyone. I'm so
morning.
sorry for being late. I knew the time of the conference, but I was having another meeting. That's why I couldn't join earlier. But I had a question. You may maybe excuse me if this was already spoken before I came in this conference. So I want to know, as we all agree now that some kind of initiative has to be done for like going to action without like talking and talking and talking. So how are you in MENA involving youth in this initiative? That's my question I wanted to ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky, for your question. Yes, we already replied to it. We spoke about many initiatives, and I hope you can look at the streaming, because we have all the session, all the webinar on YouTube. And our ladies here, every one of them gave us very good, important examples of what's going on in the Gulf area, in the Maghreb area, in the Middle East, and the Levant area. And I hope you can watch here Sylvia Kegel also shared again the YouTube. And I hope you will learn a lot from this webinar, very fruitful webinar. And thank you everyone again, because we passed 18 minutes. So sorry for that. Vicky, you can send also questions to the organizers of the webinar, and they can also provide you with the links and the presentations, because they promised us to put it in a drive in the cloud for everyone to make use of it. Thank you everyone again, and hope to see you soon, inshallah. Face to face also.
Thank
In
you.
Tunisia.
Thank you.
Brilliant work.
Excuse me. I would like just at the end, remember, tell you that our second webinar will be organized on the 11th of June. So we will continue the discussion, and we hope that we will have good initiatives and suggestions at our second webinar. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.